Hello, welcome back to Rainbow Magician Tarot.
Hell yeah!
My name is Mary. Thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight it is May 26th when I'm filming this, so I'm going to be utilizing some of this eclipse energy, and we're going to have the theme tonight of what are the changes that are currently happening. How can we embrace them so that we don't feel so overwhelmed and so that we can feel some sense of power and free will over our lives, okay? So as usual, I'm filming this because I'm going through my own shit right now and need the guidance myself, so I will just cut ahead to once I have shuffled the piles so that you can choose which pile speaks to you. I'll probably do 3 and we'll just see what happens. So okay, so here are your piles. We have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Take a moment, take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it for a few seconds, then breathe out through your mouth, and then close your eyes and then open them, and then the first card that catches your attention is the pile for you. So go ahead and do that now, or take some extra time if you need to. Do whatever rituals you like to do. Choose your pile. Let's get into this. I have, like I said, really not that much preparation. I never really do. I just kind of jump in. So just go for it. Pile 1. What are the changes happening? And what is your message for how you can deal with this? Okay, so first card that we have is the Devil, Demon. Okay, so we're going right into it. You feel trapped by some dark energy from your past that you thought that you were somehow like over or like done with, and now it's come back. There's like a hole in your like heart area that feels like it is re-breaking after you spent a lot of time trying to heal it. There's a separation that you hadn't perceived before between yourself and some other aspect of you that scares you in some way. You feel like is always dragging you into situations that you don't want to be in, bringing you back down into what you perceive as hell, pain, and suffering. I'm sorry, this is like a really intense reading. I'm not holding back today. It's a fucking eclipse, so I'm just going into it. If this is triggering for you, you know, do what you need to do. I won't be offended if you have to click out of this video. I'm just going all in tonight, okay? I'm sorry. So, yeah. I feel like you are afraid of some monster that you've created. Like there's some aspect of you that you are always trying to like keep in check, and you've kind of painted it as this monster, as this demon, and really all it wants is to tell you something. I know that sounds really simple, but like genuinely the monster you're afraid of, all it wants is to tell you something. So it's like, when are you gonna stop being afraid of the same shit that you've already been through? That's the thing. Like I feel tired looking at this because I feel like it's already happened. Like this is an energy you've already fucking dealt with this shit before. So why are you scared of it again? You know this. You know who this is, okay? This is a part of you. This is maybe someone else that is reflecting a part of you. This is a situation that you find yourself in over and over again. This is an addiction. This is whatever it is, okay? This is your demon that is most known to you. However, you think you know it, but you don't. It's like, it's still there because it's like, hey, you haven't fully integrated me. Like, you haven't fully accepted me. You haven't fully, like, learned what I've been trying to fucking teach you all of this fucking time, okay? Like, it literally just wants to tell you something, okay? And it's not something that you need to like run from. The hole that you feel in your heart, the pain that you feel, I feel like there's a lot of heartbreak in this group. The pain that you feel, this loneliness that you feel it because you're not listening to what this thing is trying to tell you. making the changes that it wants you to make. You're not owning it as a part of yourself, okay? That's the gap that you're feeling. That's the missing piece that you're feeling. It's this part of yourself that you've refused to own, okay? And we have the Seven of Wands. Okay, this is really interesting. You're like, it's like a hand that's like kind of holding over this fire, kind of like protecting it from the water. Interesting. I feel like you are, yeah, like you're trying to protect yourself. I mean, there's fire imagery with the Devil card. It's like you're afraid of the fire, but you're also trying to protect it, is what I'm getting from this card. It's like you're afraid of your own inner fire, your own inner flame that's going to push you forward into the things that you want, okay? So you're like trying to protect it, but you're also like afraid of it, if that makes sense. So you're just kind of hovering here, okay? I feel like you need to release some of these flames that you've been trying to protect, these flames of anger, of rage, of inspiration, of passion. Fire can represent all of these things, right? It can represent anger, it can represent passion, it can represent creativity, it can represent inspiration. It represents life, right? It represents all of these things. I feel like you need to like set that shit free. Let it, like, don't be afraid of it going out, because it needs to combine with this water. And when that happens, what you get is this steam, right? Which is like, you know, it's like transmuting the water into a different property, right? It's like, it's all about this change, right? Water is in liquid form, and when it encounters fire, it goes and it changes into steam. So it's like this change is going to naturally happen when you let these elements combine, when you let the element of fire and water combine within you, okay? So the element of fire, again, being that passion, that drive, that willpower, and then the element of water being that surrender, that sensitivity, that emotional awareness, all of those things. Like, you need that emotions, you need that softness, and you also need that fire, you need that surrender, and you also need that, like, that power, right? You need all of those things, and you need to let those like combine, okay? So find a way to do that feels right to you, okay? I was actually just listening to a podcast where this woman talked about this thing that she does where she calls it rage on the page, or like rage journaling, where you like basically in the morning or whenever you like to meditate, or, you know, set a disciplined time for yourself and some sort of journal, you just kind of like word vomit like all of your rage, all of your frustration, everything that's like tension within you. You just like vomit it out onto the page, and then immediately after you meditate for 20 minutes. And I feel like that's a really good way to combine these two elements, because to me, a meditation is more in line for me with water, because it's kind of like a surrender. I like to do meditations where I'm kind of like letting my body move with the energy that I'm feeling around me. I don't try to stay perfectly still, because that just doesn't feel right to me most of the time. I like to be in the flow, and I like to let my body move. And so that to me is embodying that water element. Whereas the fire, that's the anger, that's the rage, that's the action. And so that to me is like a good example of how you might combine these two energies, right? You might also want to try like dancing. I feel like could be a way to combine both, like that forward movement, that fire, that like passion, while also that kind of like surrender and flow to the music. So whatever physical embodied practice that you can come up with or find for integrating these fire and water elements within you will really help you to embrace these changes that are happening, because you don't want to just cause destruction with no sensitivity to yourself, right? These changes that are coming are coming, and fire brings a lot of destruction, but water brings calm. And so you need to find a way to combine both of those so that you can embrace the destruction and all of everything that it means as you're going through these changes in life, while also being able to release resistance and kind of move with the flow of it all. So I feel like that will be really helpful for you as you are going. I feel like this group, you're going through some kind of transformation where there's a lot of aspects of your life are like combining or integrating together, okay? Because I'm just really drawn to how these elements are both present. And so a lot of areas of your life are meant to kind of combine and ignite and mix together. And that can be really scary, especially if you're someone who has kind of kept a strong divide between different parts of yourself or different parts of your life. Like, this is the area of my life where I focus on my creativity, this is where I focus on my finances, this is where I focus on my relationships, and it's like all of those boundaries that you've set to like compartmentalize your life are about to kind of be like blown up a little bit, and it's ultimately for your greater benefit, or it can be if you claim that, but it's like you need to embrace that energy and kind of find a way to make peace with that, so that the destruction isn't just going to wreak havoc on your life, but so that you can find some kind of relief, and relaxation within it, okay? And then we have the Two of Coins. So yeah, like I was saying, like there's a lot of things that are kind of combining in your physical life. I feel like this is going to happen. There's going to be like something that you birth, some kind of idea or project that comes forward that's going to present new opportunities for you. Like specifically, there's going to be something that you plant a seed for something, and then it sprouts like two different flowers, metaphorically speaking. Like you plant the seed for something that you're working on, and then it ends up becoming like two different things. Okay, so whatever that means for you, maybe you're working on some kind of art project, or you're writing something, and then it's going to end up being two different projects. Or maybe you are finding a new job, and it's going to end up leading to two different opportunities that maybe you can both do at the same time. Or maybe there's some new relationship that's going to introduce you to two new other things in your life that you're wanting. That there's like something that you've planted the seed for, or you're in the process of kind of nurturing, that's going to sprout like two different rewards for you. And I feel like there are things that you can have both of at the same time. I don't feel like you will have to choose between them necessarily. And I feel like your kind of challenge is to figure out how to welcome both at the same time, and to appreciate both at the same time for what they are. In a very literal sense, this could mean like giving birth to twins or something like that, although I don't want to like make that claim for anyone watching this, because not everyone is trying to go down that road. But it's like that metaphor of twins can apply to other things in your life, other manifestations that you're trying to see. There's going to be like some kind of twin result from something in your life. Then we have the Emperor reverse. Okay, this is like reminding me of like the sword and the stone kind of myth. So it's like you are kind of doubting your own power, because like I said with this card, you figured out how to get the sword out of the stone, but you know you have the strength, but it's like you're doubting yourself. Like, you've fucking done this shit before. Okay, I'm feeling like there's some pattern that you've dealt with before, that you had some lesson that you've learned before, and it's like you have all the tools that you need, you have the strength that you need, you have the resilience that you need, but it's like you're kind of denying it, or you're not really fully owning it. You know, the Emperor is all about that power, like fully owning your free will, and kind of like that more masculine energy. I feel like you have that within you, but like for some reason you're just like not fully embracing it. So like, this is the sign, you know, if there's tools or resources or things that you've found, lessons that you've learned before, that for whatever reason you're not implementing in your life right now as you're going through these changes. Like, I feel like there's something, like you're scared of something happening again that's already happened. But the thing is, nothing ever happens in the same exact way twice, because you learn things from them, and that's the point. So whatever you've learned from before is your key to dealing with this shit now, but it's like you forgot, or you're not using the message that you've taken from that to embrace whatever the fuck is happening. Okay, and so you have the strength, you have the resilience, you just have to trust yourself. So like, go back to everything that you've learned, like remind yourself, okay, this is what I do when this happens. This is how I get my power back. This is how I like get in control again. And like, go back to that shit. Go back to those practices, that discipline, okay? Discipline is a word that's coming up for this card. Like daily practices, start implementing those daily practices, daily meditation routines. Like I said, that rage journaling, if that sounds like a good idea to you, do that, or anything else that feels good to you, okay? But like, discipline can be something that is very beneficial to you. It gives you a sort of structure in your life that can help you actually feel really safe and secure. So whatever feels good to you, you know, you don't want to like force anything that just because you feel like you should do it, but like, choose the things that you actually want to do, that you can actually commit to, okay? Commitment is key here. okay? Like, I feel like you're lacking some kind of commitment to the things that you want in your life, and that's why all these changes feel so overwhelming. It's because you've lost your focus, you've lost your commitment. So figure out what that is, and then as long as you stay committed to that, these changes won't seem so scary, and you'll be able to embrace them more. And then lastly, we have gravity, groundedness. So yeah, like groundedness. Ground yourself in your emotions, okay? Ground the chaos and the confusion and all of that into your body so that it doesn't feel like it's outside of you, controlling you. You have the ability to claim your reality. Claim the reality that you find yourself in. Say, this is where I am, okay? Maybe where you are feels scary and hellish and really freaky and scary, and that's okay. But wherever you are, wherever you find yourself, like, claim, own where you are with your free will so that it doesn't have control over you. If you say, okay, this is where I am, I acknowledge this, I acknowledge that this is how I'm feeling, I acknowledge that I'm angry, I acknowledge that I'm upset, I acknowledge that I'm afraid, okay, claim that, acknowledge that as a part of you, as a part of the truth of where you are, and then you will be able to find some kind of movement with that. Because as long as you fight against the reality that you find yourself in, like, you've given up your power, okay? You gain power by claiming your reality, by claiming the things that happen, even though you can't predict everything, okay? You can't control your reality as much as you might want to think that you can with the law of attraction. Yes, you do. Everything you do influences your reality, and you do create your reality to some, you know, on some level. That doesn't mean that you can control your reality, okay? So understand that there's a difference between creating your reality and controlling your reality. A lot of the things we create are actually beyond our awareness, are actually being created from our subconscious, and there's no possible way for any person to be fully conscious of their subconscious. Even once you get enlightened, there's still more to know, because we're never done. It's never a finished process, okay? So with that in mind, you might be finding yourselves in situations where you're like, okay, obviously I'm manifesting this, but I don't know why I'm manifesting it. This is not what I wanted. And when you find yourself in those situations, instead of freaking out, say, okay, well, I'm claiming this as where I am, as part of myself. I'm choosing to be where I am so that I can figure out where to go next, okay? Like, you can't go anywhere if you're fighting where you are. You know, like, you can't drive to another city if you refuse to get in the car. Or, like, does that make sense? Like, if you don't know where your starting point is, okay? Like, it doesn't matter what you look at on the map if you don't know where you are currently. So, like, own where you are, because that's the key to figuring out how you can move, right? And how you can embrace the changes that are happening and ground into that. So figure out how to get your body to align with your reality, okay? I don't know if that really makes sense, but this is just the words that are coming out of my mouth that I'm translating. So just, like, try to claim where you are and then, like, find peace with it within your body, okay? So, like, do any kind of embodiment practice, yoga, or, like I said, dancing or breath work, exercise, anything that you do to feel a kind of peace within your body, a safety within your body, so that your body is not fighting against the emotions that are surrounding you, okay? Because a lot of times when we have difficult emotions that come up, we don't really let them come through us. You know, it's like they kind of stay outside of us, and, like, we're actively fighting against them, and then that causes this, like, tension. But if you can relax and let them come through you, so, you know, like I said, doing any kind of emotional, like, releasing, like that rage journaling process, or, I don't know, just letting yourself fucking cry if you want to, whatever you need to do. But just, like, letting the emotions come through you so that you're not fighting against them is one way to reground into your body so that you have movement again, because you feel paralyzed when you are, like, fighting against the emotion that is, like, kind of surrounding you, but it's not fully, like, integrated into your being. Does that make sense? So, like, you know, ground yourself by acknowledging your emotions and letting your body digest them, okay? And I promise it's not going to be as awful as you might think it's okay. It's only going to be awful, like, the more that you resist it, okay? So do those grounding techniques, grounding meditations, breath work, whatever you need to do, but with the intention to allow difficult emotions to process through you, like, because once you're in a more grounded state, it's going to naturally happen. So just kind of have that as an intention, like I'm grounding myself, not to like fight against how I feel, but to allow it to process through me in a more gentle and comfortable way. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So, like I said, there's a lot of changes happening, okay, that are, I feel like, also going to bring you like a lot of abundance, a lot of things you've been wanting, okay, maybe in the financial world, and just, in, like I said, all different areas of your life are kind of combining. Your creativity is combining with like your emotions and with your relationships. The things that you are creating, that you're putting forth into the world, are going to be intimately tied to your relationships and how you navigate who you are in the world and your sense of purpose, and all of these things are going to kind of ignite all at once you can claim. The word claim and ownership keeps coming up. Claim and own whatever force of destruction is coming towards you that you feel, whatever darkness or like scary entity that you're afraid of. You don't have to be as afraid of it. It's here to give you some kind of message for a change that you have been wanting to make, that again is tied to this combination, this integration, like mixing of different parts of your life, okay? There's going to be actions that you're going to be taking to have a life that is more combined. I don't know, that's just the word that I'm keep coming back to, but just like a life that is more like not as divided. There's like an ending of division that's happening in your life. So look out for that and embrace that wherever you can. Okay, that's it for group 1. Thanks for joining me. All my links and information will be in the description. Okay, let's see what your cards are. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, this is cool. We have 2 of the same cards that just popped up. First, we have Strength. This one actually came out in reverse, and this has the Manticore on it. So we have this Strength, and then we also had this Strength come up from this deck. So you have 2 Strength cards that are showing up here. So the fact that this first one was in reverse, it tells me that you have the strength that you need, but it's like waiting to have the permission to come out. Like you have this weapon in your arsenal, but you're like waiting for permission to wield it, okay? And I feel like this has to do with your passion, with your purpose, okay? A lot of you have some idea of some like new purpose that you are wanting to walk towards, and you're wanting to crawl towards and run towards. I don't know why I just said all of those different ways of saying the same thing, but like you're wanting to go forward towards this like bright shining purpose, but you're like waiting, like you're sitting on something that you shouldn't be sitting on, okay? There's like, you've halted your momentum for some reason. You have the strength, you have the tools that you need, like you have, like I said, a weapon in your arsenal. I feel like some story that you've been needing to tell for some of you, some activity you've been needing to do, some something you've been needing to create that you're sitting on, okay? You're just kind of waiting, and you know you have the strength for it, but you're still waiting. And so why are you waiting? So you have the Queen of Cups. This was in reverse. Okay, well, it's a full moon, and it's currently full moon when I'm filming this. I have no idea when this video will be up. It might be, like, way past the full moon by the time this is up, because I have, like, so many videos I have to edit. Anyway, full moon energy, Queen of Cups, shedding of feathers. Okay, so there's a resistance, obviously, to going forward with this plan that you had, okay? Like, you would set some kind of plan, and it's, like, halted for some reason. And the resistance is because there is it's an emotional resistance, as it always fucking is. And so there's an emotion that needs to be like released, and I actually feel like this emotion that needs to be released is something that you are going to channel into this thing, whatever this is. This is some project you've been working on, some new thing, new job, new creative project that you've been wanting to work on. And you've halted it because you feel like you've lost the momentum, or I don't know, it's like you feel like you've lost the momentum, or it's like clouds kind of got in the way and started kind of blocking this end goal. You don't really know, like maybe you had some kind of plan or some kind of vision for what you wanted, and now you're kind of second guessing yourself. You're kind of like confused, like I don't know if I should stick with this original plan anymore. And here we have this feather blocking the moon too, so we have 2 things kind of like blocking the light here, and the moon is all about the reflection of the sun, right? So this emotion that you're feeling is a reflection of how you feel about this project. And I feel like you need to embrace that thing that's like that, embrace that blockage, embrace that confusion, or that like little thought that's like second guessing things. Like, embrace that as part of the process and weave it into the process. Okay. For instance, I'll just use myself as an example. I was in the process of trying to work on a creative writing project that would have hopefully resulted in me writing a novel that I kind of am like on pause for right now for whatever reason, because I feel like there's a lot of emotions that are coming up that I need to deal with, a lot of things in my life I feel like I need to deal with, and all of this confusion makes me feel like I don't have a clear vision for my goal anymore, and so I don't know if I should keep working towards it. But this is telling me, again, I'm just using myself as an example, that confusion is part of the story that I'm writing. That confusion is part of the process that I need to somehow weave into that, okay? So the confusion you're experiencing, the lack of clarity, okay, it's all a reflection of this story that you're trying to tell, this thing you're trying to create. It needs to be woven into that somehow. So like, use that as inspiration if you can to keep you moving forward, okay? Like use the confusion that you're feeling as inspiration for what you want to create, okay? It might seem a little bit weird, but just like, try it. Next card we have is the Knight of Wands reverse. Okay, more fire. God, there's so much fire. There's a lot of fire in the first group too. Okay, Knight of Wands. This was reversed, yeah. So like that, again, that passion, right? That like drive, that passion. We have it in reversed again because you're kind of in waiting, right? But it's there, it's ready to be wielded. That inspiration that you're looking for is literally right there. And again, embrace these confusing feelings that you're having. Allow this emotional release to inspire you and guide you towards this new creation. It's like you can come at it from both sides. Like, you can get like an inspiration to create something, and then by creating that something, you change how you feel. Okay, I'm kind of using this as like from an artist standpoint. I can get an idea for like a painting I want to do, and then by doing the painting, I've somehow changed how I was feeling, or it has some impact on my emotions. But you can also go about it the other way around, and you can use your emotions to bring inspiration. So you can explore the emotion and let that emotion spark inspiration. You can explore that emotion through your creative work, whatever that might be, with the intention to just like let it show you what you want to create or what you want to see, and then let that kind of inspire you. It's kind of like the difference between going into, like, I'm just using a painting as an example. You can have an idea of what you want to paint, and then you go into that, and then as you're doing the process, like, your emotions kind of influence the decisions that you make. Or you can go into a painting blind and say, I have no idea what I'm going to do, and you let your emotions guide you from the start, and then as you let your emotions guide you, then you start getting ideas and inspiration. Oh, I want to do this and this. So it's like combining that mental aspect with that emotional aspect, okay? And it's like you can go from the mental idea to the emotional decisions or an emotional influence, or you can go from the emotion to the mental idea and like inspiration, if that makes sense. Like, you can go at it from both ways, so you don't have to know exactly what you're doing before you do it. Okay, so like if there's something creative that you've been wanting to do, like for example me filming this video, I said when I sat down here, like, I did not really plan this out at all, and I'm just going with it. I'm letting my emotions guide me. That's, I could have sat down and planned, like, okay, I'm gonna have this specific theme, and I'm gonna do this amount of cards, and this is the spread I'm gonna do. I could have done all that, but I didn't, because that's not the energy that I'm in right now. I'm in this very like chaotic, like, let's just go with the flow kind of energy. So that can be something that you can embrace as well for your creative projects. Like, just kind of let your emotions guide you and see what happens, and you can keep it or you can, not. But either way, you've broken through that stagnancy that you were feeling. And again, strength, okay? Like, you have the strength, okay? I don't know if there needs to be any more elaboration with this card. You have all the tools that you need, okay? And like, you're not falling, okay? Like, this being in reverse, it's like maybe you felt like you were climbing towards something, and now you're like slipping and falling, and like you're afraid that you're gonna crash and like have to start over. But it's like nothing's happened really. Like, all that's happened is that you've stopped climbing, or you've started climbing in a different direction. But like, that's okay. It's okay to like move in different directions. directions. Eventually you're going to get somewhere, okay? Like, you don't always have to have a clear vision, like, of the end goal. Again, like I said, how these clouds were, like, kind of obscuring the sun a little bit, and this feather obscuring the moon. Like, you don't have to have a clear vision in order to still have strength, okay? Like, you don't have to know the end goal in order to have enough strength to just, like, keep yourself moving and figure out how to reward yourself enough in the process of the movement, reward yourself enough in the process of going towards, of changing directions and of trying different things out. There can be like some innate rewards within that process of just like using your own free will to make decisions. It's inherently rewarding to make decisions, really. I mean, it's only not rewarding when we have like fears of negative consequences, but if we don't fear the negative consequences and we just embrace the curiosity, making decisions is something that is inherently rewarding, especially in a creative sense, like making a creative decision to, I don't know, like make a certain brushstroke when you're doing a painting or write a certain line of poetry or whatever it is. Making creative decisions is inherently rewarding because you're like, ooh, look, I have power, I have strength. I decided I wanted to do something and I did it. And that's inherently rewarding. And it doesn't have to like paralyze you, like, oh, what's the result going to be? It's like, it can be anything, and that's exciting. So embrace that unknown and that curiosity and just like see what the fuck can happen, you know? It's like, why not? Like, try, just like see, like fuck around. like fuck around and find out, you know what I mean? Like, you're strong enough to like be able to figure out what you're doing as you're doing it, and just try to own every decision that you make, and you're always going to be able to make more. So there's no reason to be afraid of that, okay? Like, if indecision is paralyzing you, you're never going to stop having the ability to make decisions. So let that comfort you. If you're afraid of making a decision, it's like, well, guess what? After you make that decision, you have about 10,000 more you get to make. So there's no reason to worry about messing up, because you're always going to have more chances, okay? All right, last card. We have electricity, wildness. Okay. Yeah, like, just like, I feel like some of you need to like kind of dance and like get into your body and just like embrace this like wild spirit, this energy that is flowing in you. You feel stuck because you're not letting it move, okay? You're not letting yourself move. You're not letting your body move. You're not letting this energy move through you. There's a lot of chaotic energy in all of these cards. I'm in a chaotic energy right now, so maybe that's why, but like this full moon eclipse that's happening right now, it's a lot of chaotic energy. And so like that can be the thing that like propels you forward, okay? Chaos is not something that you have to be afraid of. Chaos is just power. It's just energy that has yet to be directed. But electricity, you know, is all about using that chaotic combustion and then directing it towards what you want to see happen. It's that movement, that power that's generated by movement, like wind turbines or like water in a dam. I don't know that much about science, but I know electricity has something to do with movement that generates this power, right? So let the movement of all of the things in your life that are changing and all of the energies that are changing within you, let that movement be the electricity that can then like spark you and like channel that directly into what you want to create. So channel that chaos into creation. And I think that's my final message for you, group 2.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
You're pretty short, but I feel like I need to end it there. Like, you have the strength. Just make some decisions. That's all you got to do. Just make some decisions. It doesn't matter what they are. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. Just start making some decisions, okay? And you will find some kind of movement, and then that will just propel you forward, okay? Group 2. So thanks for joining me again. My links and everything are in the description below. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon. Goodbye. All right, group 3. Let's see what the fuck is up. Okay. All right, the first card we have is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and this deck is called the Inquisitor. So this is the message that's coming up. Your pain that you are currently going through or have gone through in the past, some sort of pain or discomfort, is something that you are now being called to draw upon to like generate new energy. And like you're being called to kind of like ride the cycles of life and the ups and downs of life, okay? Because the movement from up and down, up being good times, good memories, good experiences, down being downswings, depressions, losses, etc., etc. The movement from this up and down is what creates life, creates stories, creates purpose. And you're being called to embrace life for all of this up and down. So, because I'm looking at this guy on this wheel, and when I look at it, I actually don't feel this sense of pain so much. Like, I feel like that is a way that you have looked at it before, like, oh, I'm on this wheel kind of being tortured, but it's like you can also look at it as this like ride that you're on, you know? It's like a fucking, like one of those crazy ass rides at fairs that, like, you know what I mean, like those like upside down wheel rides, or just like a roller coaster, or like anything that's like exhilarating because it goes up and it goes down. And that movement from up and down is what creates life. It's what creates learning. It's what creates purpose. Like I said, I don't know if this is going to make sense to a lot of you, but this is just I just translate the messages that I pick up on, and they make sense to me most of the time. Hopefully they make sense to you. So there's a part of you that's the experiencer, that's like in the throes of life, that's experiencing the heightened emotions, the ups and the downs, right? And then there's the part of you turning the wheel. So there's a part of you that is making those decisions, that is influencing that story, and that is kind of adding meaning to that. And you know, the part of you that is telling the story, the part of you that is making the decisions and is deciding what qualifies as up and what qualifies as down, okay? And then there's like kind of this observer part of you, this God part of you, that is always there kind of learning from the process and watching over the process. But because it's turned away, you feel like it's abandoned you. Like you feel like whatever you consider as God or your higher self or the universe or whatever, like you kind of feel like it is against you in some way, or that it's turned its back on you. But it's like you've also forgotten that it's like part of you, and so it can't ever like go anywhere. And so I feel like this is in reverse because it's like you aren't really seeing the full picture. And you have the ability to kind of step into this observer self perspective through meditation or whatever. You have the ability to step into this observer self perspective, this higher self perspective, God self perspective, whatever you want to call it, and see things from a higher point of view. But like you, for some reason, have just forgotten that, or you've resisted that aspect of you, or you are afraid of it, maybe. Like you're afraid of your own divinity, you're afraid of your own... I just feel like you don't trust it. Like you don't trust yourself. You feel like, why would I have let myself go through the things that I have gone through? If I really do have a higher self, why the fuck did it put me through these things? And if you don't vibe with that concept of higher self, if it's God or if it's angels or, you know, whatever, just the world, life itself, like you feel like it wasn't looking out for you, or that it turned its back on you in some way, or it's just like letting you, like, again, fall prey to this cycle that you feel is toxic or is hurting you. Okay, but it's like you've forgotten that you were all three of these. Okay, you're the experiencer. You are the one who is deciding what you experience. You're influencing what you experience by your thoughts and your actions and the stories that you tell, the meaning that you make out of it, right? And you're also the higher aspect of you, the eternal part of you that is like observing everything. But you feel like that part has turned its back on you, or that it doesn't care. Do you feel some resentment towards the universe at large or the world at large? But it's because you fail to see the value in this process. You fail to see the value in the ups and the downs of life. You're failing to see the value of this cycle, of this wheel that you're on. There's a value to it. There's a value to the story that you're living, and to your ability to create, to generate new stories and new energies from it, okay? And it's like once you can recognize that value, then you will like also recognize that this greater force, this force that is bigger than you, this, I like to say the you that is bigger than you, or the, when I'm saying it to myself, the me that is bigger than me is what I sometimes will pray to, meaning that greater force that is bigger than all of us, that is collectively all of us, that is like the collective us, collective consciousness, source, God, Allah, whatever you call it. Once you recognize the value of the ups and the downs in life, and you can recognize your own power in creating your ups and your downs, you recognize your own power and your ability to generate your own cycles and your own stories, then you will see how this greater force is actually on your side and has been this whole time. And you have the ability to step into that and to observe yourself so that you don't feel as lost in the experience itself, okay? Because there's value to being fully immersed in the experience, and there's also value to being the observer self. And so it's a matter of choosing which perspective you're going to step into at any certain time, okay? And if you feel like you've been lost in the experiencer self, it might benefit you to do some meditations to step into the observer self. So do some like mindful kind of meditations to step into that eternal observer self so that you can remind yourself that this is not all that you are. And by doing that, you can then find the value in that experiencer self, and then it won't feel as overwhelming, but it will be something that you can embrace. I hope this is making sense. I know I'm kind of gone on a pretty philosophical tangent here, but we'll move on to some other cards. Okay, we have death. So, changes, right? Death, yeah. I apologize. I've been drinking a little bit of wine here and there, and I think it's starting to make my words a little bit hard to come out here, but death. That's a part of life, baby. Changes are a part of life, okay? Death is what gives life meaning. Like, death in a literal sense is like what gives life meaning. Like, that's what makes this experience of riding the ups and the downs worth it, because it's temporary. It means something, right? And you have this eternal aspect of self that exists beyond death, and this eternal aspect of self isn't really ever feeling like that singularity, that single point of perspective, right? It's kind of this endless, infinite pool of potentiality. So it's not really feeling any one thing, because it's kind of just like everything. And so because of that, it can see the value in that singular point of perspective, which is what you are in your body right now. And that singular point of perspective is that temporary thing that we call life, that has value because it's temporary, and because by living that temporary single existence, we get to experience the intensity of all of these potentialities that exist in this infinite field. And so start to look at death in a literal and in a metaphorical sense as something that gives life meaning. Start to look at the inevitable decline, destruction, obliteration, annihilation, etc. of all things in your life as the thing which gives those things meaning. For example, if you are someone who has been through many relationships that have ended, maybe you now don't want to start any new relationships because you're like, well, I don't want them to end again. I don't want to go through that pain. But it's like that the fact that they're temporary is what gives them value. Even if you find someone you're going to be with forever, you're still going to both die. So it's not really forever, is it? I mean, ultimately, the eternal self is everyone. And so we're all going to be together in the, eternity of afterlife or whatever you conceptualize of. But we won't be our individual selves at that point. We'll be just will be just currents in the ocean of the everythingness of the universe. Oh, okay. Sorry, I hope that someone is able to pick up on what I'm saying, because sometimes I don't know if I make any sense to anyone but myself. But that's okay. Anyway, embrace the temporalness, embrace the temporality, the temporariness of things as something that can make them worth more and something that can add to your experience. And then we have the Ace of Cups. So, as far as the actual changes that are happening in your life, there's a potential for a new relationship coming. That's going to be kind of unexpected, I feel like. I say that because, I don't know, just the fact that this is like a raven or a black bird. It's like something kind of spiritually significant, but also maybe something that like kind of took you off guard. Like there's a potential for a new spiritually significant relationship that will surprise you in some way, or will kind of take you off guard and not be exactly what you expect. I don't feel like you have to be afraid of it though. I feel like, you know, you can kind of come at it from a playful point of view. I feel a playful energy from this card and just kind of see what happens. It doesn't have to be anything super long-term committed to, again, because we understand that everything is temporary in this realm. You don't have to freak out too much about the seriousness of it, but just kind of have a playful energy towards whatever new relationships might be coming your way and just kind of see what happens. If, you know, you might be surprised by someone. And then we have the Six of Wands reversed. Okay, so remember to follow your own path. Remember that the darkness is only the darkness when you're looking for someone else to show you the way. Like when you... another time for another corny metaphor. The darkness is only the darkness when you forget to turn your own flashlight on. Okay? Like, do you know what I mean? The darkness, death, is always going to be there. Is always going to be there. But you are light because you are life, because you are alive. And being alive is in opposition to death because you exist instead of not existing. Like you are this one polarity against this other polarity. That means that you have this internal light, this internal guidance that you have the ability to trust to navigate the unknown realms, to navigate these new things in your life that you don't have full awareness of how they're going to turn out. You can trust yourself, okay? So trust yourself to guide yourself. Again, trust yourself to guide yourself. Remember, you are also this person turning the wheel. You're the person who can determine how fast or how slow you go. Like the wheel is always the wheel. There's always going to be cycles, but you can determine how fast or how slow you go, and you can determine the meaning that you add to your experiences. Okay? So remember that. Remember that you're also this eternal self. So you have the ability to guide yourself, okay? And you can take information. I mean, this can also be a sign of like omens and information coming from other people, from other relationships. You can take information from other people, from relationships, from this video if you want to, hopefully from anything, right? But you take that information and then you integrate it into yourself and you trust yourself to use it to guide you through it. So again, you can trust yourself to guide yourself through anything, through whatever you're going through the unknown, okay? There's a fear of the unknown here, especially with death coming up, like a lot of changes in your life, potentially with relationships or just with a lot of things in your life in general, changes to the way that you view life, to the way that the relationship that you have to your own emotional highs and lows, to the relationship that you have to yourself and to the life that you've already lived, like your past, the stories that you've already told, all of that, all of the changes that you are embracing with that. If you feel like you're afraid of the unknown, you're not actually afraid of the unknown, because you can't be afraid of something you don't know. You're only afraid of what you project into the unknown. And so if you're projecting this fear into the unknown, you can also project hope into the unknown, because you have the ability to do both, okay? Remember, you're the one telling the story. You get to decide what flavor it's gonna have. So change the flavor. Maybe the unknown is gonna be something scary. Maybe it's gonna be something great. You don't know. And it's that curiosity that's going to guide you, okay? So that you aren't stepping into the unknown already expecting the worst, okay? Just try to, as much as you can, to let go of expectations, to say this horrible thing could happen or this wonderful thing could happen, and I'm just gonna fuck around and find out. That sense of like curiosity and openness is actually like the most healthy state to be in when you are making kind of an unknown decision. You want to be aware of both the potential positive and negative outcomes, but you trust yourself enough to be like, okay, well, we're just gonna see what happens, and I still have free will. I can still choose to react to that or respond to that in whatever way I feel like I want to in that moment, so I can trust myself, okay? So trust yourself. Okay, last card. We have Fluidity, Outer Core, and this was in reverse as well. Okay, Fluidity, Outer Core. A lot of sexual, sensual energy in this card, so the fact that this was in reverse, some of you have been repressing some sexual energy here. Some of you have been denying your sexual needs, repressing your desire for sex or closeness or intimacy, and that is kind of stunting you a little bit. Because sexual energy is this fluid energy, it's this creative energy, and if you can embrace that fluid, sensual, creative energy, then you will be much more into that receptive state of being able to make decisions without so much fear. So I feel like for you, like I said, I feel like there's a relationship tone to this reading for this group. Fear of new relationships, potentially. Sexuality is going to be an important part of that. So kind of don't be afraid to like express that and to let those needs come to the surface, to let yourself explore that, okay? Exploration is something that's going to be really important for this group. Again, like this kind of playful, innocent energy, this kind of playful, innocent exploration, letting people surprise you, letting you surprise yourself, like embracing the ups and the downs and just the whole adventure of it, okay? And embrace this fluidity as much as you can and this sensual energy, okay? Like, you know, just saying, like get comfortable with yourself, with your body, with your sexuality, and don't be afraid to kind of explore those things, okay? The last video that I filmed, I don't know if I'll be posting it before or after this one, because like I said, I have like 3 videos I need to edit and post, but at some point I will have posted a video, a pick a card for sexual healing, sexuality, sacral energy, that kind of thing. So I'll link that below for this group. It might help you to watch that reading, because I feel like that's innately tied to these changes that you're going through, is this embrace of your sexual energy, embrace of this part of you, this divine feminine part of you also, so that you can be kind of fluid in the flow, embrace the changes, and but you still have a core, right? This is the outer core. It's like the inner core, right, is that eternal self. It's that you that is bigger than you. It sounds kind of like an oxymoron because I say it's the inner core, but it's like the part, it's like you have this, you have the ultimate reality, the us that is bigger than all of us, and then you have like your specific like soul current within that ocean, and that is your inner core, right? And that is that kind of eternal like solidity, but it's also like not stagnant either, but it's a core, it's part of who you are. And then the outer core is this fluid nature of change, this construction of self that you get to build up, these stories that you get to integrate into your being and decide who you want to be, and that's all tied to this sacral energy. So embrace that as much as possible, however you can, and you are going to find yourself just going through a lot of changes that I feel like will really change your outlook on life in a way that's, you know, hopefully for the positive, and that's up to you. You are the light, you have the free will, you get to decide what meaning you're going to create out of things, and that's the excitement of it, okay? And the excitement of it is that it's always changing, and that you always get to change it, and that you always get to add more and subtract more, and, you know, but you still have your core, you still have that ultimate self, that observer self to return to. And so it's all part of the same adventure and part of who you are. So I'm going to end the reading there for group 3. I hope that you enjoyed. All my links will be in the description below, so please check those out if you're interested in getting a personal reading or anything like that. And please like and subscribe, and I hope I will see you again very soon. Goodbye. Namaste.